Hello everyone, Lakey here, and today I want to talk about no-skill weapons again. As you may or may not have seen, I made a video a while back talking about no-skill weapons and why we shouldn't direct hate towards players for using weapons that supposedly take less skill to use. In the comments though, it was quite evident to me that people have been driven to the point of anger about the specific gun that a person is using in Phantom Forces, and I feel like maybe they're kind of missing the point of what I was saying. And this is pure anger, pure legitimate rage, all over something as simple as a weapon in a video game. I've seen people get angry at me for even suggesting that we be kind to each other rather than getting angry at other random players about the amount of skill it takes to use certain weapons, and I'm honestly puzzled by why people are taking it so seriously and why they are in bouts of anger and aggression towards me, all for advocating for not being mean or rude or just bullying other people. Like, for real, are you guys okay? It is literally just a video, and it's just a video game. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I honestly am concerned for the individuals when I see their posts and comments of anger because someone using a gun they don't like. And I would dare to go as far as saying that this is maybe not a normal reaction to something like that. And you know, I'm just a very laid back person by nature, so perhaps I'm viewing things a little bit different here, but I just don't understand how someone can be driven to the point of anger over something like the AA-12 or the BFG-50 or the M60, whatever gun it is that people take issue with. And I would go on to suggest that maybe it's just a case of a lack of emotional maturity, which would make sense when we're talking about kids losing the ability to be level-headed about dying in a video game and resorting to rage. I feel like with most of the people I play with, who are generally older, we die and move on and don't get caught up in frustration or anger. And so I can understand how younger people might not necessarily have as easy a grasp on that. But if that's not the case, I really do not understand how people are getting to the point of anger over the gun that someone else chooses to use in Phantom Forces. I know that people hate to hear the, oh, it's just a video game talk, but that's all this really is, a video game. For everyone besides the developers, really, that's all it is. This isn't a game like CSGO, for example, where playing competitively can earn you a nice paycheck, and the balance as it pertains to weapons or mechanics in the game can directly affect your ability to earn a livelihood. In a game like CSGO, if the developers were to drastically change the way a weapon is or something like that, and your team can't adapt to that new meta, you could be out of a job. But for us on Phantom Forces, this is Roblox. There is nothing at stake at all in the game. If I do poorly in a match, at worst that happens is my KDR goes down, I guess, or I don't get a key or a case drop for winning. A particular gun being broken or requiring less skill to use doesn't mean all that much. And yes, it is important to have principles as it relates to weapon balance in any FPS game, but being thrown into bouts of anger because you don't like the way that people use a weapon you feel is unbalanced is, in my opinion, a little irrational. Now, I don't think it's wrong for people to disagree with the balance of a given weapon in the game. And for example, the M60 has been pointed out by people in the comments and elsewhere as being a rather broken weapon. And in a calm, collected manner, I have been able to produce 2 videos where I explore the balance of the M60 and suggest how I think it be changed to be more balanced. However, nowhere in these videos do I spread negativity to people who use the gun, nor do I express an anger that people should not be allowed to use the gun because I disagree with its balance or because I think it's too easy to use. And then in-game, while playing against the M60 or any of the other guns people pointed out, I don't get upset or angry if I die to the person using it. I really cannot imagine being driven to that point over this game because of a weapon that some random person in a public server decides to use. Now, I do choose to play for fun in the game and not really with skill in mind. I have no competitive aspirations or any competitive drive to be the most skilled player in the game for that matter. I play video games just to relax and as a nice hobby. I'm not here to stress about how much skill other people are playing with. Heck, I play Skyrim on easy mode for crying out loud. not everything in video games has to be challenging or skill-based. I look at fandom forces the same way. It's just a way to relax, I'm here for a good time and to make some videos as well. And sure, I recognize that not everyone in fandom forces is playing with those same values in mind, but the anger towards random people in public servers is seriously where I am lost. I don't understand the idea of forcing random people in pubs not to use certain weapons because you feel like playing for skill and they don't. And for the people getting angry over no skill weapons, I feel like the obvious answer for them is competitive fandom forces leagues. In competitive fandom forces, all the guns that you think are broken are banned from use, and even more on top of that. In the competitive fandom forces community, people are actively playing with skill in mind and will compete against each other. I don't personally play competitive fandom forces, but this seems like the perfect outlet for people who want the ideal of playing with skill in mind rather than getting upset about the weapon that some random person is using in a pub. And I guess the only limiting factor here is that you might not be good enough for competitive fandom forces, but if you're really complaining about the skill of other players yet can't perform well in an area where skill is required, should you really be the one talking? And then another thing I've seen people say is that even though I personally may play for fun, the use of so-called broken or no-skill weapons makes the game unfun for other people, and as such, it is justified to be hateful to people who use the broken or no-skill weapons. But this shows to me that yet again, that people have a problem with dying in the game and do not understand that other people aren't playing the game with the same values for skill as you. It is okay to die in the game. You will die many times in the game to many people of all kinds of ranks using any combination of weapons and attachments. Let me tell you, I've died plenty of times to a rank 0 with an AK-12 or a rank 0 with a Colt LMG, and frankly, to me at least, it's a waste of time to get angry over dying in the game because it will happen time and time again. Sure, I don't necessarily want to die in the game, but I understand that it's not avoidable and it's unrealistic of an expectation to expect that you're gonna avoid it. I've recently hit close to 85,000 deaths in the game, and I'm sure at some point I will hit 100,000 deaths if I continue to play. For me to express anger over dying in a game where you die a lot is just taking steps backwards rather than forwards. You can choose to play with skill in mind, but getting angry and berating other people because they don't choose to do this is honestly kinda weird. And for me at least, my fun in the game has nothing to do with the guns that some random people choose to use. I would also go on to argue that it's not the burden of other people playing the game to make it fun for you, by the logic that people should conform to our own personal ideals so that it makes it fun for us. We run into some weird areas. For example, if my team is being spawn killed and I were to find that to be unfun, is it somehow now justifiable to spread hate to the other players unless they completely stop spawn killing us and let us regain map control? The reality is, though, that spawn killing is caused by different aspects of the game falling short, like team balance, team composition, map design, and probably more factors. These are things that stylists should work on fixing, and not anything that any random player in a public server can fix. Same could be said for the gun that you think is broken in the game. The responsibility there is on stylists and how you believe they have fallen short on balancing the weapon in question. Directing your negativity to random people in the game because they use a gun you feel is broken will do nothing to change the way that that weapon functions. And the proof is there that with enough vocal outcry, things get changed. And you have to be constructive about it. If I just say, nerf the BFG, you're bad, and that's it, it doesn't really give stylists much of a means to understand what our displeasure with the M60 is. However, people have pointed out, we think that this weapon is just a bit too strong at range, and we think it doesn't have enough recoil, it's a bit of a laser, or, with the AA-12, that has gotten nerfs recently as well. It's debatable if it really needed those nerfs, but community outcry has caused something to happen. And whether you disagree or agree with what these nerfs do to the weapons, and if you think they are effective enough, it is still something, and it's clear that change can happen. But that doesn't come from being a negative person. If I'm a game developer and I see someone just being negative towards me and telling me that something's broken, but they're not being constructive about it in any way, I'm not going to be receptive to that person's feedback. And I'm going to sound like a hippie when I say this next thing, but hear me out. Choose to focus on positivity in your life rather than negativity. Put work into not getting caught up in seeking negativity in different aspects of the game, because in the end, focusing on the negativity will never create a good experience for you. As I said before, if your problem is the balance of a weapon, that's 100% fine. But being hateful will only lead you down a road of negativity and a lack of change in the long run. I would also like to pose the question to the people who are angry at others for using these no-skill weapons. Why do we have to play with skill in mind? Why is it wrong to play the game simply for fun and not to be the best player? Why should I have to give up using a certain gun because it doesn't take as much skill to use as another weapon? Why is it okay to be hateful to other people over the gun that they use? Be sure to let me know in the comments. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.